Are we live? Are we live? I'm I'm hearing myself. This is crazy. This is crazy. gotta kill the gotta kill the multiple windows, right? Rookie maneuver. Cheers. Cheers to all of you. It's Friday Night Live and the podcast, The Love Child. Two great things in one tonight. And we are so excited to have you here with us. Hopefully, you guys can all see me and hear me. We had some strange technical difficulties going on last night while we were trying to pre record the podcast for you. So you get us live. How cool is that? We were going to do like a little bit of podcast recorded last night and a little bit of live tonight. Well, you get full live tonight. So we are here and it's going down. It's going down right now. And so Ken is in the house, the boot Ken, and Brian is in the house. Thank you guys for coming. Rocky is here and has been here for some period of time. Saw some of y'all up in the chat kind of early this evening. Lisa's here. Cheryl's here. Thank you guys for coming. Ken, the grateful one, is here as well. Afya Raka Manny is in the house along with Jackie Kaya. Hey, and Allison, the Rockin' Prairie Girl, is also here in the house. Very good to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I actually have to pour out a beverage so that we can do some cheersings and some Steinkernages, and to make a note about something. Allison had a super cool live stream a little bit earlier this week, so you guys have to go check that out. It was about I think it was about polarizing, right? If I have that correct, I was busy in the studio just frantically trying to get some Valentine's order stuff taken care of. And so I didn't get a chance to partake in the chat, but I was definitely watching in the wings. And that was very cool. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. Rufo is in the house, also had a very cool live earlier going over some of the stones that we actually showed off during our last podcast for the viewer show and tell. We had a really nice kind of Riker Mount style selection of Rufo stones, and he went into greater depth in his live stone. That works too. So go check that out if you haven't had a chance. He's just walking home after getting off of work, and so thank you for joining us, and careful on your walk. Hopefully you're more listening and watching where you're going than watching. And okay, so it sounds like Brian is pointing out that we are streaming from two platforms, or one platform, two channels this evening. And so through the miracle of modern science, we're both on the Rockhound podcast channel. And then we're also on the Ozone Fine Art Ventures channel. And so Brian was pointing out that some of the chatters might be on one stream and not the other. And so I can't tell. I see what's interesting about this particular new platform that we're using is that it brings you all together into one chat bar for me. Isn't that nice of them to do? They like just consolidate everything into a nice package so that I can see you all no matter where you are. I see you. I can see you no matter where you are. And so if you're missing some of the chatters, they might be in the other chat. And so Blind Squirrel Rocks is in the house, and Papa's Gems is in the house as well. Thank you for coming this evening. and Spot is here, the Spot, and the Sandmaker. Randy is here. Wow, you must be someplace where you're getting a signal. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna bring out what's in your moose tonight, guys. Whoa, there it is. Cheers to you and yours, to all of your rocks, to your whole family. Hoping that you're rocking out super hard for this whole weekend. And thanks again for joining us. So, Stein, Kern, and Prost, and all those good things. Ken's having a sudden massive craving for Chinese food. Oh, I want noodles too. Does somebody? I love watching the pre-chat when I'm getting everything organized. It's really interesting to see what people are talking about, and a good amount of the time, you guys are discussing what's for dinner, or again, what's in your moose. And so, yeah, I had a handful of trail mix for dinner. So when you guys are saying like, "Hey, drink, beverage, hydrate," it's also that I might be going light on the sugars for the synapse action, and so I'll model through for you guys. One thing, a little piece of housekeeping. Theo should be here shortly. He always flies home from work. I mean, I think he literally flies. Like, wouldn't be surprised at all. On like some kind of iris agate, superconducting, transport system. But he's gonna pop in, and Kurt actually was unable to attend this evening, and so he may pop into the chat. But otherwise, otherwise, we're all alive. So, um, I just wanted to make sure to mention that before we got rolling, and then everybody's wondering where everybody is. Daniel Plays with Rocks is here. Thank you for joining us, and is drinking the black cherry water, that Waterloo. I love that stuff. Black cherry is one of my favorite flavors, and I could say that about a lot of different fruit flavors, but there's something about black cherry, um, especially if it's really uh, accurate, like Bing cherries and cherry season. I just love it. John is in the house. Hey, John. And he says, yum about teriyaki chicken. Yeah, teriyaki chicken over rice sounds good too. So I just had that handful of trail mix, but um, I do get to still plan on what I get to have when we're all finished here, and so you guys are helping me out. Ken is having chicken tenders and fries, and Cheryl. Oh no, it's going too fast. I'm going to backtrack here a little bit. Cheryl is having potato soup and cornbread. Blend Squirrel Rocks is having pizza, or definitely pizza. I don't know if that means that like that's what you'd prefer to be having, or if that's what you're having. Yeah. Rufo is just saying, Theo the agate writer. I mean, I don't know. The illustrator in me wants to make a cartoon of that. Wouldn't that be great? I think if I had several, I'm wondering if I'm loud enough for you guys. Let me know if there's anything about the picture or the volume that is insufficient, quirky, whatever. Let me know. Still getting stuff worked out. And last night it was like all about mic issues, and so we were like, everything was set to all of this the same as it ever was. Settings, and yet stuff wasn't working. You have to, when technology gets to you that way, it's just terrible. Let's see. So John was saying that that was why he wasn't getting any response. He's in the Rockhound chat room. Okay, so he's popping over. I guess the Ozone one is the one that's going on, just because we usually do the Friday night lives, and so I totally get it. Ooh, and Chris's partner is making leg of lamb. Oh my goodness, that's going to be awesome. Randy says he's in Yuma. Fantastic. I hope it's really nice and warm for you guys there. Embrace some of that warmth for me. uh, it's interesting. You guys probably all have been watching a lot of the streams that have been happening from Tucson. Looks like it hasn't been all that necessarily warm, but a lot warmer than a bunch of places where y'all are hanging out. Like, I remember when I lived in Tucson, and right around Gem Show, we'd either have swimming suit and get hanging by the pool kind of weather, or you would have, like, it was freezing and it might rain, or one year these winds came and just blew over a bunch of the tents, and it was like kind of scary and bad. And so you can imagine, if you've been preparing all year long as a vendor for Tucson, and that's like where you make your money for the entire year, and then like your whole tent. I mean, we're talking about the huge tents that they use for conventions and events. Blows over and your stuff gets like scattered. Can you imagine? Or, depending on what kind of vendor you are, broken or whatever. Oh, and Kirk is in the house. Good to see you, Kirk. Hey, hey. And that actually also reminds me, if you are anywhere in Oregon, this weekend, tomorrow, if you're also accurately in this live space and time situation, we are having the Fossil Fest at the Hatfield Marine Science Center on Saturday. And so Saturday, that would be February 10th. And so if you're in the area, go ahead and pop in. It's like an incredibly cool fossil event that they have annually. And you can bring in your fossils if you found them locally or what have you. They've got folks that will, at the very least, attempt an identification. And there's folks that really know their business, especially if you're talking about the fossils from right around here. And so I can see that Theo has popped into the green room. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Theo out of the green room. I've popped the can open.
Oh, hello all.
Hey, Theo. And how's it going this evening for you?
Just busy. Still have to finish editing a video and get it uploaded tonight, so I can't stay super long, but I can still stay for a little while.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for popping in. And I know that we ended up going even long last night. We had technical difficulties, but then we
That
started
were never
to talk.
resolved.
Yeah. And so apologies for that. And then yeah, so we'll try to be a little bit more concise this evening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it's a little infuriating. I just realized we're live, so I'm gonna stop my camera and my mic, and I'm gonna grab my laptop so I can actually look at the chat while we're going.
Oh, this
Because
is a great idea.
I can't open another window like I can on my laptop on my phone. Well, I can, but I don't know how, nor do I want to.
Gotcha. And so actually, this is good because I wanted to say hi to Sean. Thank you for joining us. And I think, oh yeah, Lisa McGurl was saying that she loves black cherry too. I mean, you just gotta love black cherry. I think it's un-American to not love black cherry. And Jenny Stone is in the house. So is the podcast on your channel now mostly? And hello, this is a great question. And so I'll address that. No, the podcast is the podcast, and Friday night live is over on my channel. But since we are exploring the new platform, and we had the technical difficulties last week, um, or this week on Thursday. Oh my gosh, I'm getting everything discombobulated. Strike that. Let me start over again. So this evening we're doing this amalgamated Friday Night Lives and the Rockhound podcast because last night's recording just didn't work out. What we would like to do is move the podcast to Thursday evenings, and we can actually do them live on Thursday evenings as the podcast. Last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Who knows? Anymore, because this has been such a weird blur this whole beginning of the year. We did the live again, simulcasting from my platform, or rather my channel, and the podcast channel, because I was trying out the new platform. In theory, we're going to get it worked out where the podcast can go ahead and just be the podcast, and we'll just do it from that channel. And then the alternate Fridays, there'll be the live stream, but we're still getting that worked out. So we're going to see. It might happen that, it just simulcasts from, whoever is on the podcast even. There's a theory that Kurt and Theo could also simulcast. But, that would discombobulate where, all the chatters necessarily convene. And so it would be interesting to hear from you guys what you think of that as well. And so thank you for that, Jenny. Because I'm sure that lots of inquiring minds were wondering about that. And Rocky Mountain Bear was imagining Theo riding his bike home, doing 90 miles per hour on the freeway, just flapping his arms up and down as hard as he possibly can. Is that what you were doing, Theo?
Yeah, it's not far off. Close.
Yeah, we were imagining you like having fashioned some kind of hovercraft out of iris agates that, reacted with the refraction,
We're not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. Work in progress.
That'll be on the other channel, right? That's the project
that's
channel.
for sure a second channel.
Yeah. All right, all right. And so tonight, what we wanted to, do you want to tell us how you're doing really quick? Like your usual podcast, how was your couple of weeks, or do you not want to talk about it?
I want to talk about it. It's been busy. We went to South Dakota in January, which is insane because it was freaking 60 degrees over there, and Alexis wanted a stuffed otter that was only available in Rapid City. So I saw that as justification to go to the rock shed, where I bought a ridiculous amount of rocks. Part one of that video is coming out tomorrow. We got a bunch and we cut a bunch, but I didn't even dent the amount of rocks that we got. So look forward to another tiger eye, labradorite, and some other stuff slabbing video coming soon.
Woo! Cool.
This is the downside to not having headset, because I'm on my phone because my laptop won't work anymore, and my cat is a just tornado. He's already knocking so much stuff down. Thank you, Alexis. All right. So also we went
to that like Maine Coon action going on.
Yeah, you see him. He just keeps growing. Pippin! He's a monster. Unfazed by all.
No,
oh, okay. Careful.
Oh, hey. Hey, Alexis and Pippin. Oh, look at you guys. Oh, I love that cat.
He's the best. He's pretty wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. I know. Stare deeply into my eyes and create chaos.
I don't trust him with literally anything. And he's.
He doesn't do personal space either, which is, he's harassing our older female cat. Give me a minute.
Who doesn't really like him, and he thinks it's the best game ever.
Yeah. All puppies and kittens like that game, I think. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Total terrorizing of adults. It's hilarious.
Sorry, where was I? We went to Teepee Canyon, which again is insane for January, because usually it's like July before we can finally make it over there. And we only had like 2 hours to do surface collecting. We didn't really have time to split any rock and stuff, but oh my gosh, I might have found my best Teepee Canyon. So look forward to that. I don't know when that one's coming, but look forward to it because that thing is insane.
Nice. Oh, that's definitely something to look forward to as well. And I want to quickly welcome Travis and Joseph and who else? Dustin into the chat. Thank you so much. Oh, and Jeff is here as well. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming by and saying how to do. And so
Speaking in chat, Jackie, yes, live coming soon. That's actually like one of the main reasons I stocked up so much when we went there was, yeah, getting stuff for live sales. But I have to get through all of it first before I can start, like, before it's sale ready. So whenever that's done, I'm hoping like a week or two, I can have it all processed down. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of labradorite, blue tiger eye, gold tiger eye. We got something crazy, you guys. We got green tiger eye.
ooh, what?
Yeah, it's blue
Alright.
tiger eye that has just a perfect amount of gold tiger eye inclusions that the two suspended together, it's literally like green, like sage green tiger eye. It's insane.
Where does it come from? Do you know
Tiger eye? I believe Africa?
green.
I'm trying to remember. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Like the green tiger eye is from the same place as all the rest of the tiger eye is coming
yeah.
from.
So there's not really like a specific green tiger eye. In reality, it's just blue or gold tiger eye that has enough of the other one inside of it to change the color because it's naturally semi-transparent. So when you get like like a blue tiger eye that has wisps of gold tiger eye through it, they'll suspend basically, and then it makes it look like green tiger eye.
Yeah, kind of like layering like an oil painting or watercolor painting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I don't have many green tiger eyes, so it's super exciting whenever I get any.
Yeah, it really is. And it looks like Pippin summoned Eric the cat. Welcome in the chat, buddy.
Very good.
We got cat stuff going on here, and Cody is here. And both his cats love when he polishes rocks by hand. Cool. Oh, I bet like they probably put their paws into it too, huh? Like I know that back when I had Zen, the unzenest of all unzenly chaos cats, whenever I was doing anything with my hands, like I'd be trying to, do some really fine, stone setting or something like that. She'd just need to be in it, like I'd have to like put her out of the room because the more intense I was like paying attention to something, the more she needed up in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a cat thing.
Pretty much, yeah. Rockin' Wheelers, I got even more than that. I'm trying to remember weights. I think we got like 100 something pounds of labradorite. We got like 60 pounds of tiger eye. Oh, it's funny because it doesn't sound like much, but when you consider what it is, I'm actually super excited because usually I only buy like individual pieces for myself, so I'm happy to have so much on hand. We got 3 pounds of amber.
Whoa.
Oh, how light that stuff! Like we literally filled like a bucket of amber. So I have amber for sale, which I'm very happy about.
Is it buggy or is it mostly?
No, it's not Baltic. It's the Myanmar.
Uh-huh.
It's more that like purpley root beer kind of color than the Baltic stuff. It's so pretty though. I love that stuff.
Those of you who are into polishing or like what I should say is like getting into polishing kind of new to it or getting into carving or any of the what's the contour carving and that sort of thing. Amber is such a good place to start because
really
you can use like the easiest of hand tools, everything that comes with, how you can buy those like combo packs with most of the Dremels and the knockoff Dremels, like will come with like a combo pack of all these different like sanding, drums
you get
and
one
stuff
of those
like that.
at Harbor Freight for like $30.
Exactly. So, yeah. with like 100 different different toys to play on the end of that thing. And with that, you can actually, and if you watch Yarek of Amberscape, you can see that those tools will get you a polish. At the very end, you might need like the automotive, the headlight cleaner, or some cerium oxide, or some kind of a polishing medium at the very end. Even simple jewelry polish, like what you would polish your silver with, that paste, that works too. Like all of
Yeah.
it is such the simple, awesome, painless entry level stone to work with.
It really is. I mean, and if you're really strapped, you can. It takes longer, but you can literally do all of your shaping and polishing with just sandpaper.
Yep. Yeah, Yarek has a couple, I think, videos on that. So if you're interested, I'm not trying to be like the public service announcement for Amber and why you shouldn't not love to polish it or whatever. I mean, that was a great ad, but I mean it. I watch the Discord and I watch y'all in groups in here, and a lot of you are just like, dabbling in starting like, the contour carving and that sort of thing. I'm just telling you, if you're interested, get some amber first, and cut your teeth on that, because it's so quick and it smells delicious when you're working
Oh
on
my
it.
gosh, it smells incredible.
Yeah.
It's like incense for your shop while you're working on it. It smells amazing.
Yeah, it's really lovely stuff. And
Yeah, there could be some inclusions. I know I've gotten stuff with inclusions from them before. I literally have not gone through it. I saw that they had a bin full, and I just started taking handfuls and filling my bucket and weighed it once it got to 3 pounds. I was like, all right, cool. I literally have not gone through any of that amber yet. So there could be some stuff in there. I honestly don't know.
What?
But for the most part, it's probably empty.
Yeah, you never know. And I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff is really beautiful as a gemstone. I mean, I know that saying stone is kind of like it might be a bit of a misnomer, but as far as making jewelry items out of it, because it's so light, like as bracelet or as necklace or even as
Oh, yeah.
earring, it's
I was
just
gonna say
effortless.
earrings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, they're so nice. Jackie, I would think that would be copal, because I've worked with a bunch of different like locality amber, and it's the best smell ever. I think I've only worked copal once, and it was not. I don't remember noticing the smell, but every amber I've ever smelled smells incredible.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I have to
piney,
agree.
sappy wonderfulness.
Yeah. And look, Kyle's in the house.
Kyle!
Hey, Kyle. Good to see you. He's behind the green curtain of the chat. And Patrick is also in the house. Great to see you here. And we are actually gonna get on as soon as he who loses gemstones, which we'll all have a moment of silence for the gemstones. That we'll get into the studio show and tell, which some of you are in, and Patrick reminded me because he's actually one of them as well.
That the name hurts. I've lost 2 nice gemstones in the last like month, and it makes me angry. The problem with my bench though is if they fall behind that bench, which is likely, there's no like I have to empty the entire bench to be able to move it, and that's a multiple day project. So I don't know. It's more worth it to just make another one, even though it sucks. But I'm gonna whenever I finally like move to a new building or something like that, and I actually move out, I'm gonna find so many like cabochons and faceted stones under that. Like
Yeah,
little
you're gonna have like a gem show right there. It's like, oh,
pretty much.
here's this and here's this. Like, yeah,
Pretty
sadly,
much.
but truly. So really quick, Silverbacks in the house. Thank you so much for saying hello from all the way from the other side of the world, as well as Manny. It's so cool, you guys that are in Tomorrowland already, joining us. Tiger Eye is also in the house, and Patrick, we're using a platform that I have for the Rockhound podcast to be live, and that's why it's streaming on both of the channels. I know that's confusing, but we'll get this thing figured out. and shoot, if it's got two wheels, then maybe that's how we ride for a while. We'll just have to see how this all works out. And then Sean with Outdoor Adventures was talking about thinking that we were being sarcastic at first about the amber. Alas, we are not. It is something to behold. Like, go get thee some amber to work and satisfy your curiosity, because it is a good thing.
Did I miss that? I totally must have missed that. No,
Yeah, it's
I
so
love
easy to
amber.
miss stuff in the chat. Like, I review videos that I've done, and I thought I was pretty thorough, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed that and that and that, and like good comments or totally awesome comedic riffs where
Yeah.
they totally were like, oh, she missed the like the most spicy line ever. And so yeah, I am so sorry, you guys.
Yeah.
Jenny, thank you so much. I'll don the queen crown as soon as I can, make sure it's like 100%. But every single time I review, and I do like to review it because I wonder what I said.
Yeah.
I'm like, was I appropriate the whole time? And so I'll review it and I'll be like, oh, that was a really cool comment. Man, I wish I had seen that then. And hey, Bob, Bob's Rocks is in the house. Woohoo! And boom smack. Wow. That's not what Bob said. That's a whole nother person. So welcome into the chat, boom smack. I mean, with a name like that, this has got to be good. And Rock and Roll Rockhound is in here. One of these times, Rock and Roll is going to be right here on this stage together with us, and as well as several of you. I know that we're getting our rally of guests together. The first couple podcasts that we've had this year have been kind of like chunky. Like, it's been difficult to wrangle for this reason or that reason, cancellations, and people have been sick and people have been out of town and all this kind of stuff. So we've got like a sort of a backlog of guests that is going to be so awesome to get to.
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna have an all-star cast at some point very soon.
Pretty much. Our dream of that Brady Bunch podcast, it's going to happen at some point.
Oh, and it can on this particular platform. I think the way that
we can actually do it now.
Yeah, I can have like a load. I can have a boatload of you guys up on here. So it's
without
gonna
like
happen.
Absolutely crashing Zoom down.
Yeah, the canceled. Oh, look, Sticks and Stones is in the house. Welcome.
I don't know why it automatically. It's weird because it shows that I'm signed in. I'm on Theo Callison, but then in chat it's Sticks and Stones for some reason, and it's like, okay, what? Why? That makes no sense.
Silverback is saying you must have some nice pieces behind that bench, Theo.
I probably do. Excluding the literally finished Sapphire and the literally finished Schiller Sunstone, there's probably like all sorts of stuff back there. Because usually when I'm fastening something and I like just start, unless it's like something very specific, because this, Karen, the smaller the stone, the easier it just pops right off the top.
If you breathe on it the wrong way, it seems like it's like, oh, see ya. You
Well,
hear it like
really
hit a window or something. You're like, it's like ricochet.
Jackie, I did. That's why I'm so confused, because it's like everything is showing that I am on the Theo Callison account right now, but then the chat's like, nope, you're Sticks and Stones. All right, I guess. Whatever.
It's kind of like your audio. I forget about it.
You just see where you are, I guess, you too.
Right.
So, no, I have this really bad habit because I have a good stockpile of a lot of the stuff I work with regularly. It pops up, there's a gunner, and I just immediately put a new one on. So I probably have like peridot and garnets and some smaller sapphires back there. I know I have some amethyst back there. There's like a little, there's gonna be like at least 100 carats of just miscellaneous, just small stones back there. If it pops off before I'm even done with the girdle, it's like, I'll just start over. I'm not looking for it.
Oh my gosh, we've got some new people coming into the chat. It's so good to see you. Lisa, welcome here, and Zach, welcome here. We're so happy that you're coming over here to watch the Rockhound podcast and Friday Night Live that we have going on right now. And then Rockhounding with Jasper Blue. Dude, it's been like ages. And so welcome back. It's so good to see you. Hope that you're doing very well as well. And we're gonna have a ton of bad theme songs, right? We've got the Brady Bunch thing going on. So what do you say we get into this this show and tell business?
We could do that.
I mean, we can tangent all we want to as we go along, because that's how we roll on wheels or more. Yeah, that's how the rock rolls.
Pretty much. It's kind of just bound to happen. So I'm like, crap, I still have to do stuff tonight. I can't do my normal rambling. I can do a bit of rambling, but not to the extent that I normally do.
I'll try to keep us on the rails, but you know, I'm pretty feeble in that regard as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, even after we failed at doing the podcast last night, spent like an hour trying to fix the audio issue, and then we spent like another hour just talking about instruments and random nonsense.
Yeah.
So even when we're not recording, we're still tangenting. So.
Yeah, you know, I wish I could say that it's just because of you guys that, you know, we go on these like incredible tangent towns and you know do these really super long exhaustive conversations about things, but yeah, even when the camera's not rolling, the thing happens.
It's like, man, we could have recorded last night and had an episode that wasn't rock related in the slightest.
No, you're right. That was
it was inlay, jewelry, shell, and instrument related, but I don't think we actually talked about rocks at any point.
Yeah, it was project related. But these guys, I think that they're gluttons for punishment. They probably would have been on board for that, actually.
Yeah, probably. There's a cat, absolutely. We are now on a tangent about tangents.
Yeah. Jackie's like, you two tangenting? Yeah, right. Yeah. How dare you? So here we have the viewer show and tell, studios and workspaces. A couple weeks ago, we did the viewer show and tell, like your rocks and the things that you'd want to show and tell with the Rockhound podcast, a completely natural thing. And Ken was the inspiration. He sent in a couple of slides of his outdoor studio that he made from like 100% things that you can like either go to resell and get, or you might have in your own house, or you go raid your grandma's house or something like that. You're gonna find this stuff, and I mean, sheer brilliance in the first place, but also it spawned a tangent, a conversation about like, oh, I love seeing other people's studios, and you know, it feels almost voyeuristic to want to like, I just want to see like, oh, how do you have stuff set up, what are you using? And so we'll start with Ken. And he set this outdoor studio up. He's out in Florida, and so you can imagine that there's like sun, there's, you know, wind and rain, there's
the best fresh smelling air on the planet. I love every time I get off the plane in Florida, it's just you just get hit by this wave of freshness, and it's like, oh, I love it down here so much.
You know what's interesting is in wind terms, when the wind is just starting to come on from being calm, it's called freshening. Like when you're waiting to go, say, sailing, or you know, the wind sports that we take part in. It's freshening. I just always love that. Like, and so Florida is constantly freshening, apparently.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
So you know, easy to acquire weatherproof elements with the ease of oh my gosh, Moseability, like so you can mosey with it. Mobility. I'm just gonna start making stuff up at this point. And so this is just another view of it. And I really like this because check it out. He's got a shower stool for the bench, and that's holds up to 300 pounds because that's what they're built for. It's completely waterproof because it's a shower stool. And it's got cool little perforations in it so you can like throw your light into it and then put a stand on it for your Dremel so that your flex shaft hangs properly. And in the background he's got a tea tray with his wet saw on it. I mean, oh, and then an egg tray holder is holding his rock samples, keeping them intact. Because I don't know how many of you will put something on a flat surface and then you're doing something like sawing or dremeling and everything's going all over the place. From the vibe. And you're like, oh crap, what just hit the floor, and went under, he who loses yet another gemstone or whatever. And so I don't know. Genius is what I call this. And so this kind of inspired others to like, oh, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and send in studio shots so that we can share what it is that we do. And so you want to take this one, He Who Loses Gemstones?
Yeah, but my screen is a little behind, so I have to wait for it to. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so this one is. Well, I can see it on my phone, but it's so tiny that it's like really, really hard to read. So the chat on my laptop next to me, right over here, is delayed. So I have to wait for it to pop up, but it's here now. All right, so Patrick Donahue is this one. I don't know why I worded it like that. That was odd. Anyway, the stone near the lamp is tiny Montana sapphire. I haven't moved yet. I just got the organizer the day before Karen posted the request for photos, just in time to look somewhat neat and tidy. Patrick, if you're still here, have you? Oh yeah, you're right there in the chat. Have you done any Montana sapphires before? I'd love to see what you would do with one.
Yes, we'll wait for the answer on that, and then check what Patrick did. How professional is this?
Oh yeah, that's so much better than mine.
Well, I mean, not only the setup. Okay, so first of all, inspiration on having alternative workspaces. So we saw one that's outside. We're seeing one at the kitchen table now. Okay, so those of you who like think that you need a studio, don't. Like you can do your work wherever, like set up a station in your house at the very least. And so I like though that, he's got the things around his workspace identified so that you can kind of see what's going on. And I love so here's a kitchen table that's been in the Morgan's family for 4 generations. And just some of the bits and pieces. I love his Raytech Shaw. I would love to try one of those. That's a hand piece faceting machine for those of you who haven't seen that before. And then Justin Prim, he doesn't use that one, but he also uses a hand piece machine. And these are very intriguing, like the kind of call to creativity that sort of, I don't know, like the mast feels so like, okay, it's engineered, this is what you do. Hand piece, I don't know, for some reason that feels like footloose and fancy free to me. So I'd love to try one of these machines.
Yeah, I really want to try one at some point.
Yeah. I don't know if I said hello to Rock Twister. Welcome in if I didn't already. And I know I didn't say bonjour to Annie Menard. So thank you so much for joining us as well. And your mother had one like that. I'm wondering if she means the table, the fastening machine, or the shower chair. You don't have to answer if you don't want, but because I'm a little behind in the chat, so I'm not sure. Spot says another moratorium on vacuuming goes into effect. Yes, like in a studio like mine, that's exactly what happens. I have this Berber carpet, and yeah, I will lose like 2 millimeter and 3 millimeter stones and up in this thing. It's like, oh no. And then the pantyhose go over the top of the, or into the like that exit filter or whatever of the vacuum, and so you can catch what you suck into the hose.
Yeah.
I hate that. And that, or else you're on your belly and your chin is on the floor with your, like the brightest, light that you have in the house, trying to
Yeah.
like find it. Ugh. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Spot. Oh, and Kyle is back, but he's actually in two places at once, and technically three places. So he is like a shape and space and time shifter. So good for you, Kyle. And I'm glad that you're back. Um, and here's another slide. This is the other side. So you can see at the very top of the picture, that's where his the faceting machine is. He's got a splash guard, and so you can definitely see the splash that's created. Some of you like you look at a studio or a rock shop and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys like never must dust. And it's like, no. The amount of dust that's created just in one session of doing just darn near anything, you could write your name in it. And so it's not that they're dusty places so much as that we create a lot of mess. And so that's kind of an indicative of that. And then what I really like about this angle is that we're seeing, okay, he's got a bunch of laps. That's what the lap tower is. And those are the flat discs that go onto the lapidary machine, the faceter, that are in different grits that you would use for different stages on one stone, or even different stones, like different kinds. And so we've got the gem jars and anti-static cloth. That's so that you can take a picture without dust on your stone, which I never
Which I
do.
still have not been able to do successfully.
I have never ever taken
or if I do, there's like a big oily fingerprint right on the table. It's like, seriously.
That happens with the obsidian, all the darker stones. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it clean. And then, then you notice that there's like a fingerprint on it. You're like, no, you just can't win. Yeah. And Josh is in the house. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. And dusting is futile, says Rocky. Thank you. Thank you for that. Like, I just, it's not that I completely can give up, but like, yeah, I just don't feel bad about it anymore is the thing. It's kind of like if you do a lot of polishing, and you do it barehanded, you're going to have like weird dark in your fingernails and on your like the beds of your fingers, especially if you have calluses. Like, say if you play an instrument and then you get like polish embedded in your callus, you're like, oh, okay, I just look like I'm scroungy. So all right, fine.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just embrace it. Mr. Turtle Montana, welcome up in here. Thank you for coming. And so next up, we've got Daniel plays with rocks. He plays rocks with rocks. And rocks also.
He plays the rocks. They never see it coming.
Right. And I really like this. I love the Dremel. So once again, when you have a flex shaft, you need it kind of hanging from something. Look at this thing. It's like a boxing ring with the microphone. Howard Cosell's gonna like meander over to it and polish a gem. But no, I love I especially love workspaces that make sense, because a lot of times you need that thing like just to come out of nowhere. Like it needs to be over here and then it needs to be over there. And I need to quickly just do this one thing over here. And that looks like it's going to go ahead and reach to most of the places where you'd want to use it.
Pretty much, yeah. Man, I can't remember who it was, and ever since I saw it, I want it real bad. They had their flex shaft on a swinging arm that hung from their ceiling, so that it literally could go wherever they needed it to in the shop. And I'm like, I need that. I need that so
That's
bad.
genius. Yeah. We went to the this electric station up in the Granite Hills in Eastern Oregon, and there was like there was a rail system with a crane, you know, so that they could like move the heavy shop equipment around. And the rails were just on either side of the, you know, kind of the entire work area, and so they could just, you know, take these. And I was like, oh my gosh, a small version for your studio. You know, you just put a couple rails in and then everything could get like slid into that needs to hang. You
Yeah,
know, lights and you know, your camera equipment if you want to like have something from above, like the bird's eye view on a project, your Dremel, your Fordham, like all the stuff that wants to hang, you could just have on like, you know, this fabulous rail. And so yeah, that wants to happen at some point. I just have to not be working, you know, like you're
yeah.
either
No, I
working on
feel
your
that.
studio or working on your working, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah. Ken says, "Let's get ready to Dremel." I like that. And then yeah, in the blue corner we have the Highland Park in the red corner. So
I want one of those so bad. Not specifically the Highland Park, just a cabbing machine in general. Like any,
sure.
I'd be happy with any at this
I would
point.
not kick anything to the curb either.
Yeah. Well, especially again, I know I've talked about this before, but ever since Kyle polished a rock in front of me in real time, I can't even look at my flat lap the same way anymore.
Yeah, yeah, the
Once you
wheels.
see how green the grass can be, it's hard to look at your dying yard and you want to even bother watering it. Like, let's just move to where it's more floral.
Well, I think that it's a matter of the tool for the job, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
because like, you know, again, for things like intarsia, um,
Well, for flattening, the flat lap is still perfect,
flattening.
but
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love making my preforms on that as opposed to using my faceting machine. Like
mhm.
I grind, you know, all my preforms on my high-tech flat lap and then move to the faceting machine. But as a cab maker, a cab making machine is really like, yeah,
Or
better.
even just like
It's
I
more
have
better.
so
Yeah.
many rocks that I just want to like polish a face on, and the time diff. Like, yeah, you can absolutely can do that on a flat lap. Also, it's just the difference in time that it takes is insane. Like, I didn't
Absolutely.
realize just how bad it was, but I mean, Kyle literally polished that rock in like 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, this is not even fair. I'd probably
Yeah.
still be on the first grit by the time he finished that rock completely. Of course,
That is
Kyle's
a
a
true
wizard,
story.
so he might be a bad example, but
I don't think so. I mean, he is a wizard, and so like maybe it would still be twice the time. So what, 20 minutes? You know, that's still like you are in if you're using a flat lap to polish a like a basic cab and it's an agate, you're in it for at the very least an hour. And
yeah,
you're more
absolutely.
likely in it for hours, and so,
Plural.
you know, depending on how large it is, that's 1 stone, and a lot of people, you know, if you're a hobby, that's fine, you know, like, it's beautiful to uncover the beauty of a stone in that amount of time, fine, whatever, but if you are serious or professional, then you can't be spending that kind of time with it.
Yeah, and I used to, and it's so time consuming that I've just lost interest in doing it. Like, I still polish rocks occasionally, but it's like, I don't know. I almost just want to wait until I can get a hold of a cabbing machine because, yeah, it streamlines the process immensely.
Yeah. And so actually Rockin' Wheelers is asking an interesting question. I don't know, can you upgrade your flat laps? And the actually because of the nature of the flat lap, there's only so much it can do that I know of. Now, I don't mean to be like negative about it. I love my flat lap, but I know its limitations.
Hmm.
And so um between the physics of what it's able to do and then the fact that it is made to be a flat surface. And so you actually have to work kind of hard to not have like quote unquote facets happen on like if you're making a round cab and that sort
Yeah,
of thing. And all this energy is going into uh, creating something that is streamlined with the better machine is maybe my best way of saying it. And
yeah. It's like you can definitely do both, but I don't know. It's like you said. It's a different thing using the thing specifically for the job as compared to something that's like that you can do it with. Like polishing rounds, especially like where you've got a curve on it, or like really shallow flat. Like even that shallow curve is enough to cause a hydroplane effect, basically on the flat lap. So polishing the very center can be a pain because it's literally like preventing the plate from actually touching it. Where on the curved discs of the cabbing machine, you don't have that same issue because there's, the water isn't settling on the flat surface. It's just feeding it, you know what
that
I
was
mean?
the physics. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a few physics
Oh god.
issues with the flat lap that, are solved with the regular lapidary machine, the cab making style of
Hmm.
lapidary machine with the wheels. And then also something that doesn't seem like it would be laborious or time consuming, but if you're trying to go fast and or you have like, a handful or more of cabs that you're doing, you work down the line on the cab machine, whereas each grit that you have for the flat lapidary machine, you have to remove that disc and then you need to put another disc on and you have to clean the entire machine each time, or else you get the possibility of contamination from the grit that happened before it. And so the lid needs to be clean. And so, everything is broken down. Then you put it back together again and you do that disc and you do all the cabs. Whereas if you have the cab machine,
You just
then
go down the line.
just go down the line. And you oftentimes have to backtrack if you're a good polisher. You find that like, you know what? There was subsurface scratches that I didn't get to, and I need to go backwards. It's so much easier to go backwards on a machine that you can just like actually roll your chair and like, do
Yeah.
and then go back. It's still frustrating as a lapidary artist, but at the very least, you're not like taking the machine apart again so that you can put the other the grit that you were on before back on, do it, clean it up again, go to the next one, make sure that you did the right, amount of repolishing to or pre-polishing to get rid of whatever scratches. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, especially if you're trying to cruise through a lot of material, it does make a lot of sense to have, the tool that is built for that in particular. Yeah. So
Sorry, I was reading
yeah,
chat.
totally. We're just gonna have a pondering gravidum into
Just
silence
a
for that.
silent nodding moment. Yeah.
So here we're looking at Rufo's Chris's workspace, and what I really enjoyed about this workspace as well, since we're talking about workspaces that either need to be temporary, that it has to also double as a room, like it's a guest room or something like that. And he was also talking about this is his 4th year doing lapidary in an apartment. And so yeah, so it's difficult to like, okay, if you want a rail system with all of your tools to be hanging down from that, that's not something that you're going to install in an apartment, that you've got a 6-month lease on, or what have you. And so I love that we're seeing his kit out and cut full of dots there. And then we are seeing his kind of before shot, like here's what it can look like at some periods of time. And this is it set up for the flat lap, for filming. And so a before and after setup, the way I have been doing it. However, I'm going to start putting the flat lap on the wood table so that my legs can go under and I'm not bending over to use the flat lap as much. It will be better for my back, which is also really important when people are setting up their studios, to be paying attention to what the ergonomics are. And that's another reason why I really love to see people's studios, because these are problems that we all run into, is that like, oh, if I have to lean over my flat lap, or if I have to raise my arms too much to get to something. And so just dialing everything in is definitely a huge part of setting up a studio and having it be successful, because it has to be, in a way that you you can work for an entire workday and it's not going to break you. And then he was also talking about, having the computer nearby, not only for footage, as you can see set up for that, but also so that you can be listening to your videos and other stuff while you're working on it. And so let me hide that current comment. And let's see. Oh my gosh, like so many comments going by. Thank you guys for all your comments that I'm missing right now. But I love that that you've got like quite the it looks like a lot of studio talk and that sort of thing going on in there. So one of the things that has been really fun over in Discord is that we have watched this come together. Slim has been sharing pictures of like, I'm going to build this workbench, and then sharing pictures of as it's been coming along. And here we see it populated. I think he said it was almost done. Like he's got a couple more things that he's going to add to it. But you want to weigh in on what you're looking at there, Theo?
Yes. So we've been following this work area progress since he started building it from scratch. Here is where it is presently, awaiting some additions and finishing touches.
And I thought, those of us who never have it this organized.
Mine, yeah. I have pictures when I first set up the shop, and it's never looked that good ever since.
Right. But what was really funny was that he's like, what did he call it? I think something about it being static and looking forward to when there's works in progress and the chaos that comes with that. And so
Exactly.
he was even talking about that. But I just wanted to point out, all the way to the right, you see that there's a rolling mill for jewelry. We were talking about that quite a bit. Ah.
I have only gotten to use mine a little bit, and I'm so happy I have one.
Yeah. And I'm so happy to be planning on getting one. Because I know I need one in my life. But like, it's all these little details. Like, oh yeah, that's like, I love this setup right in front. Okay, so first of all, like at the very bottom of the picture, you can see that he's got his bench pin, and then he's got his like extra hands, and they're set up against a surface that he can do some light soldering on. And then right behind that, he's got like all this, like what looks like a handmade bit stand. He's got a bunch of wheels and a bunch of bits that are ready to go. I love seeing stuff like this. This is very inspiring for like, okay, if you drill holes into a plank of wood, and here you've got like, so say maybe two 2x4s that have been, one of them was sheared off at an angle to create that bottom one, and it looks like we have like some pockets in between. I mean, it's so simple to make like a super darn cool stand out of like just scrap wood that's hanging out, that maybe somebody mitered for some other project and is already ready already.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so anyways, I just wanted to point that out. And then of course he's got his entertainment system up top as well. And so one of the things that I really think is funny is that, so he's got his keyboard over there to the left, and his mouse. And I am constantly having to get work grit out of my keyboard. I don't know if anybody else gets sticky keys because of this, but like, oh my gosh, I'm like, okay, so my 3 doesn't work. Why? And I'm like, kink, kink, kink. And it's like, there's like an actual shard of like bezel, silver in it or something. I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
yeah. Guilty. So Spot was saying Slim is a guy on a mission for sure. And so we're traveling all the way across the planet to the other side. Over there in Oz, we have now this feels more like home to me. This is Manny's studio area. Part of it, current studio setup, embrace the chaos, says he. And I couldn't love this more. He's got a bunch of rocks up there. He's got a work area that we can see is going on there. It looks like a pop-up work area too. And so, easy to put up and break down. We've got a Dremel hanging out there. So those of you who, it's been hard for you to get into, again, like carving or something like that, these Dremels are great tools. You can get a flex shaft for it. You can get rolling and it doesn't even have to be a Dremel. It could be a knockoff.
I don't use Dremel.
Yeah.
I don't use a Dremel or a Fordham. You can get a good flex shaft without breaking the bank at all.
Yeah. So
they are very, very, you can get good flex shafts at a very entry level price, like $50-$60 easily.
Yes, truly. And so, if you like it actually, it does look like he's got both a pendulum motor, which is right underneath the bristle brush. If you look right under that, it looks like he's got a pendulum flex shaft and the Dremel. And so, I use mine for different tasks and I love having both. And so people have always asked me, like, what would you prefer? And I'm like, I prefer to have like a bunch of tools. My preference.
I prefer options.
Yeah, because I don't want to ruin my Fordham. I have like a super shishi handpiece for my Fordham, and I don't want to ruin it with water. And so I use my Dremel flex shaft for all of the water work, and it works great. There's no reason why not to love it. And so
I think I've thought exactly what you're talking right there is what I should do, and I still haven't done it. Get multiple Dremels for different tasks, but instead I burn out a Dremel every year because I run them into the ground.
I was going through them like milk in the refrigerator. I was seriously killing a Dremel about quarterly. And I'm like, I can't afford this. And so
I usually get about a year out of them.
Yeah, I started parsing the tasks and working with like different approaches. And I think I finally gotten like my knock on wood is probably going to die tomorrow, but my Fordham has lasted quite some time. Like it's over a year. It's definitely going on 2 years. And like, that's probably the longest I've ever had one of the hand tools, but it's set up as a flex shaft. One thing that you guys ought to know though, is that if it dies, like buy brushes first, replace your brushes first. And then you can throw it away. It's worth having some extra brushes around.
The place mine always breaks is the tube, the spring in the center of the cord.
Yeah.
I don't know how I have this ability to break those cords, but I that is like 9 times out of 10, that is where I break it, is like right at the base. So the machine itself works fine. The hand piece is perfect, but it's just literally the shaft itself that is no longer usable because there's nothing connected to spin it. So I have a bunch of hand pieces.
Oh, that's great.
Uh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I've burned through a couple of the Dremel flex shafts, but I mean they burned up and like corroded and died. I mean, they were
Exactly.
so solid that I had to
Mm,
like destroy them. you know, and in that
yeah.
regard, like at dawn there was taps and I buried it. I mean, like, it was just like it died valiantly. So
Yeah.
here's some of the the other bit of Manny's studio. We've got, you got to have your coffee
Of course.
there next to your computer setup. I'm not sure if there's snacks on the corner of the table or if those are rocks, but it doesn't matter because like both are necessary. and so often rocks look like snacks to me, and so I'm digging this view of this your station as well. And then we switch over. I'm feeling like that's probably just over, the shoulder of where he was standing before, and we see that there's a flat lap. A lot of folks of us, are working with that kind of technology, and so we're just figuring out how that'll work out. And I like how in the shelf behind him you can see, the lineup of all of the discs for the flat lap and the way that he's got his setup and refrigerator. I like that. I need to put a refrigerator right in my studio. Microwave right on top. Like everything's just right there. And so if those
Yeah.
weren't snacks over there, then you still have some available. Very important. It's because I didn't have dinner before the podcast. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I haven't eaten today.
snacks.
I'm trying to get like,
Oh, Manny says those are rocks. Okay, so totally important. Those are tasty looking rocks, Manny.
yeah.
Um, okay, and Spot is talking about having a cordless flex shaft. Wow. I know that there's the micro motors, which I'm tempted to get one. So if you want to weigh in, Spot, on how you love yours and what brand that is, I'd be really interested. In fact, that would be something that I'd love to have in the comments instead of the chat, so that anybody who wants to read about that could and wouldn't have to go back through the chat replay.
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa is in the house, and the fridge is awesome. Here for sure. Um, I have a snack station in my studio. Yeah, you do, Manny. you totally would need to. Um, and then Rocky was asking if he painted the wall. I mean, yeah, like if you get bored at looking at the rocks, you could just space on into that for a while, I think. This is pretty deluxe. Thank you so much so far, all of you, for sharing your studios. I think I forgot to thank y'all so far, and thank you, Manny, for sharing that. And this is an outside view. So he's got, his cabber outside, which a lot of people have to default to do. And I totally get it because it's a huge mess, especially, gosh, I don't know how much boulder opal you do, but you'd have to have it be out here.
Yeah.
That looks way too clean for boulder opal, though. It should be brown if you're doing that. And then I like these, like, he's like, and so future studio building materials, it's a work in progress. And so we've got like the future studio over here to the right. I feel you, man. Heck yeah. I think I got a lot of that going on as well. We have future plans for this house that would employ an area that, probably looks a lot like what you've got there, like a lot of sticks and stones. So
Hey,
yeah.
I know that guy.
It's that guy. And so thank you again. So we've got, oh, who's this?
Oh yeah, this is my shop tour. Speaking of cheap, affordable Chicago, there's my Chicago Electric flex shaft that I had to get. Oh man, I'll have to find that pic. I know I sent it to you, but that was like during last year's Makers Challenge. I mangled that spring in my last flex shaft. I've never seen one get that messed up, so I had to improvise and go get the Chicago Electric, which honestly is like one of the best little machines for the price. I mean, you can't beat it. It's really good. So and then there's a wall behind it, and then there's my lathe. with a fossil cetacean vertebrae and my micro abrasion tool sitting under it, not next to it, literally underneath it. Because
I can
need to
tell that
fix
you
them.
set up all these shots. Like you
I actually
cleaned up
didn't. I literally
everything and you set it up.
no. So here I'll drop the act now. My shop is a disaster at the moment because I'm organizing and about elbow deep in like so many different projects right now. Plus, then I started going through all the stuff from the Rock Shed. So when Karen's like, "We're doing studio tours," I was like, "I will give you like tiny little pictures of my studio, but I'm not doing a shop tour at the moment because I don't want anyone else to see what my shop looks like right now." I'll do
No, I totally.
I'll do like an entire rock shop tour whenever I actually get around to finishing it, which should be after the next live sale.
Right
So,
on. Well, we'll all look forward to that, but at the same time, I so get it. Like,
yeah.
I just took like a broad shot because I was like, yeah, you guys don't want to see all the little bits and pieces. But I like that you shared it, and Rocky was like, Chicago. Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. I think one like I was off Dremel for a while. I like quit Dremel because they were breaking so fast for me that I was like,
Yeah.
I can't buy these anymore for this price. And so I started with the Chicago tools, and I absolutely, for as long as I had an outlet for Chicago that closed and moved away out of our town. And so like for a while I could buy them, and I did. I loved, like, they lasted longer. I'm not like weighing in on, one company against the other, but they did last longer for what I was putting them through. And so I really appreciate Chicago tools. Yeah.
There's a Harbor Freight like 7 blocks from the shop, so they're my emergency. I need to get work done, and my flex shaft just died. my Chicago flex shaft is my fail safe.
So we just got one. Like, it literally just opened last week. Harbor Freight just opened in my town. I'm so excited. I haven't been in there, but it's because I don't have like funds. I have to be careful. I'm like, okay, when you go in there, you're going to drop, like, it's kind of like going to Costco for some people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you don't go in there unless you got like a couple $100 to drop. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
because I know I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, like, they have those like super sweet hooded sanding stations and stuff like that. They just have them. You just go in and get it. Like,
I know Harbor Freight gets a lot of hate because some of their tools are actual like hot garbage, but oh my gosh, some of them in there are like worth so much more than the price they're asking. And yeah, the flex shaft is 100% one of those tools. Their lathes are also one of those tools. Their full size lathe is literally the best lathe on the market for under $1,000. It's only like $400, which is insane for a full size lathe.
Yeah. So I mean,
the diamond burrs are great because I've used expensive diamond burrs and I've used cheap diamond burrs, and they both die at about the same pace when you're carving agates. So just go cheap.
Yeah. Well, and then there's like I will spend the money on sintered because sintered, like, fine, it changes its shape and it becomes like, oh, it was a round and now it's a teardrop or whatever, but it still has got diamonds in it. And so I'll drop money on that, but like I'll agree, a lot of times, like, if you're gonna rub it dry of its diamonds, you might as well get some cheap diamonds up in there. And so they're having a very interesting flex shaft conversation in the chat. And Brian was asking, didn't they discontinue the Chicago flex shaft? And I don't know if they did or not.
I actually don't know. I'm not up to date on that. My flex shaft I got like a month before last year's Makers Challenge. So that would have been like what, March? So I'm like almost a year out of date on that. So if they've been discontinued since last year, then yes. If not, I don't know. I'm not
would be
current with my flex shaft move.
And I know that like a lot of companies ran into some big problems like during the whole supply chain issue and stuff like that, and some of them had to like collapse or just get rid of certain items that they used to be able to provide. And so that would be interesting to look into too, guys. Like if you want to leave that in the comments, if somebody knows for
Yeah.
sure, I would love that. So load the comments with, you know, like some of these hard facts. I would love it. So Spot was also saying the biggest problem for me was wanting a straight cord for my handpiece and could only find the curly cord. I just missed the window where Fordham changed from straight to curly. Oh, got it. And so, yeah, it's like the old style telephone cord now with a curly cord instead of a straight cord, which I would totally prefer a straight one as well.
Yeah, I would not like that.
No, like that would like, I don't know. That
Yeah.
seems like it would be pretty annoying. And so I don't know why they would do that. And that would be interesting to ask Fordham about. And yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, Harbor Freight, you know, Joseph, yeah.
They're
So
some outs like way, 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 way better than they have any right being tools at Harbor Freight. Like their little belt sander I've been using for like 15 years now, and I use that thing like I'm trying to break it. But again, there's also stuff that is hot garbage. Like they have one of the worst rock tumblers on the market.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've definitely heard some poor assessments of certain goods. Yeah.
I've had two, and both of them lasted one full set. Did one barrel, one set from start to finish, and then the motors would burn out. And after the second one, I'm like, I'm not, no. Once is maybe it's a bad machine. Twice is a trend that I'm not going to continue to follow.
Yeah.
So I got my lower tone, and I've never looked back. And it's been running every day for like 7 years now. So.
Huh. Yeah, everybody's going back and forth. Like Twister says they have their flex shaft unit at my Harbor Freight. I saw one yesterday. And then Rocky
I'm not
heard
allowed into Harbor Freight anymore unless I have my spin. So I haven't been in quite some time.
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh.
What is?
John's Chicago Tools hanging Dremel, or you know, it's like a pendulum motor. They call it a motor. Like if you want to just talk about it, it's a motor, you know, with a flex shaft. That's what they, you know, you don't have to say Dremel because that's like it's like calling band-aids band-aids, you know, like
Or,
that's a
yeah, exactly.
and so he says that his has been going for 10 years. That's amazing.
Dang.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, if I didn't work mine
awesome.
as hard as I do, I'm sure I could get more time out of it. But I've talked about this many times, and I use my tools like I'm trying to break them, except for my fastening machine and my slab saw. Those I baby like crazy because I can't afford to get another one.
Oh
But
my gosh, yeah, the
most of my
fastening machine.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
if I have a tool that is less than $100, yeah, I use those things like I hate them, which I don't. I
yeah.
love them. I just am quite reckless when I'm working.
If my fastening machine wanted like freshly squeezed orange juice every morning, I would get it.
Yeah, I would literally read
At
my
night.
fastening machine bedtime stories if it needed it.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, the the flex shafts on the other hand, like you know, I'm like, okay, I need this done. You're not that hot. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and you know,
I'm like,
it like falls off the bench. It falls off the bench, and you're like, don't even bother bending down to pick it up. You just kick it across your shop over to the other bench.
Oh, it's like the heresy going on right now.
Yeah. So Alexis just brought these over that we wanted to show you guys while we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So these are at TP Canyon. I want to grab individual ones. At TP Canyon, there are nodules of chert inside of the limestone, and they're like perfect little gray-blue agate balls, and I love them so
wait,
much.
here. Hold on. Keep on, like I almost said, keep on holding up your balls. But I'm not going to say that because that's terrible.
Yeah, I'll put more
Please. Up. Yeah.
And they're the best, and I love them. And Alexis really loves them. Every time I'm looking for TP Canyons, she's collecting like a ton of these little marbles. And if you tumble them, they literally come out like almost perfect spheres.
Oh my gosh,
and they're
those are
so cool. So we have
how do they form like that?
I don't. They're just literally little chirk balls inside of the limestone. I'm not sure what goes on that makes them so different from the TP Canyons, because they're not even the same, like remotely the same color as the. Oh, here's a couple broken ones so you can see. I'm trying to pick a good one. That's a good, accurate representation. Yeah. So like
They
on
are
the
super
inside,
neat.
they're not the tan like the normal TP Canyon shirt. They're like a gunmetal blue gray. They're awesome. I love them.
Yeah,
And
those are very cool.
And they go from
Thanks,
big
Alexis, for bringing this.
to itty bitty. So I'm gonna make a couple tumbler batches of these, and these might be popping up on the next live sale. Maybe I won't have them done in time for the next live sale, but future live sale, we're gonna be selling what we call prairie marbles. I love them; they're very cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to just.
No. That was a great insertion. And so actually Ken was like, "Ooh, I want some of those." And so Ken, he just said that they're going to be available at some point. And Ken is actually a tumbler. And so maybe you might consider for the next live just having a very limited number of rough ones to tumble available.
Yeah.
Would you be into that?
We do. I think we have like. I'm trying to think. We've got like a gallon bag of them.
yeah, I collect them a lot. I call them marbles. Hi, everyone.
Alexis.
Hey, Alexis. Yeah. And so, it looks like everybody, Lisa's down here going like, oh, Theo has nice balls. And those are pretty. And Rocky also, nice balls, Theo. Brian says hi to Alexis. It's all very, very innocent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Brian. Okay.
Hi, Brian.
I'm gonna say this right now because I'll forget again because that's how my brain is tonight. You messaged while I was in South Dakota, and I totally was like, I'm gonna respond when we're not driving, and then I forgot. So
I was sitting next to him. When
yes, I absolutely have.
Have.
Yeah, please. He's getting into something.
He's playing with.
Thank you, love. I totally have tumbling size Montana agates. I will happily send you for free for helping on my lives.
Aw. That's sweet. Everybody, aw. Haven't had one of those for a little while.
We haven't. Oh my god.
Aw.
Pippin.
Hey,
Big old
Pippin.
squirrel tail.
I know. I was just gonna say that tail though.
Yeah. He's pretty luxurious. He wants to go though.
He's being a monster.
Aw, you'd never suspect that could be a monster.
He has two settings and it's chaos and snuggle.
Oh dear.
Quit attacking Molly. He just walked over and just tackled straight into it.
Thank you for the huge group that we're getting in the chat. Look at that. Got like a whole page of
Hi. I'm getting like pushed over though. Sweetie, there's not room.
Silverback wants to know how many people want to buy Theo's balls. Wow.
We broke her.
It happened. Yeah.
Yes. That's like the personal goal every day.
Nice.
Hello, Dante. Did you just need to be up here with me?
Oh yes, that's
like
the
taking too long. I need to talk with you, Dad.
Yes. The whole family needs to be up in the lap.
Yeah, she's pretty codependent with me.
Aw, that's sweet.
God, she's like, can you move, Mom? I need to be with Dad. Okay, goodbye, I guess, Alexis. Okay, right. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail everything.
Okay, back to this.
I was gonna say, I think I have more pictures.
Wait, add to stage. Okay, so we saw that already.
We did.
Okay, how about this, ladies and gentlemen? Tell us about this.
That's the one we saw. Oh wait, I'm behind. There we go. So one of these benches is we'll do this backwards. We're gonna start right to left just because I want to be contrarian. So that's my main bench. That's where I am like 90% of the time. That's where my flex shaft is. That's where I do all my jewelry, all of my soldering, stuff like that. It's also the best lighting area of the shop, so that's where I do almost all of my recording right there on that bench. You can see a big pile of cut TP Canyons actually for an upcoming video. That is, yeah. Usually when you're seeing stuff at the shop, it's that bench because it's my longest bench too, and it's right under the bright lights. So yeah. In the middle, that is my my makeshift, specifically fish prepping bench. I don't prep anything else there, just fish. Which it's really just 2 sawhorses on and a big like 10-foot board of plywood. Because I needed a bench right now that was big enough for. Actually, this was I set that up during when I was getting ready for the Gem and Mineral show, and I needed my other bench so that I could do certain stuff. I also needed it to put rocks on because I was doing a bunch of cutting videos. But I also needed a space big enough for the big fish plates to prep while I was working on them. So I was like, I'm just going to make a bench really quick. We're just going to grab this board of plywood and some sawhorses. And yeah, so that it just kind of never got put away. And now I prep fish there.
Nice. Yeah, so, I love these solutions, actually. My mom used to use file cabinets, but in the same way. Like, yeah, she had these 2 file cabinets in her studio, and when she needed a bunch of room to dry prints on, because she was a printmaker, she'd sprack out this 4x8 piece of wood, just plywood, and those 2 file cabinets became the ends of the table, and she had like a 4-foot by 8-foot spot to dry a bunch of stuff. So these are also like, especially those of you who have to like put up and break down studio spaces. Oh my gosh, like sawhorses and a piece of wood are like the best thing ever, because they all fold up and like are against the wall in seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Takes up like a foot of space that leaned up against the wall, and it's like, that also that same setup is outside sometimes. It's what I used to cut rocks on my tile saw, but I don't even have a trim saw or tile saw anymore. So it's the big one only. So we haven't gone outside to use it actually in over a year at this point. That's also my bench that I take outside. Bench, I say with air quotes. It's just wood and flowers. When I'm doing stuff that requires really heavy lifting, as in if I'm carving rock with my angle grinder, that's going outside. Like, not doing that indoors, so I'll take that outside to do that. All right, and then the other bench is the other bench you will see the most often. That's the bench that has my flat lap and my fastening machine on it. So if I'm doing pretty much anything like a rock hunt, rock cutting, anything like that, you'll see the bench on the right. If I'm doing any lapidary video of any kind, we're on the bench on the left. And that is a big disorganized pile of opals for an upcoming video. Bunch of people, I kept mentioning opals, and a bunch of people have been requesting that I do another opal video, and I've been stockpiling some nice opals. So yes, opal video is underway.
That looks awesome. Yeah, like for some reason, like I set up this little slideshow, and I mean, I had the hardest time minimizing that and sharing the stage, because they were verts like this. I was like, okay, well, I got to put them this way, so this makes sense.
Yeah.
I like just kept on like enlarging it just to look at the opals. I'm like, oh,
there's some nice. Real good opals in there. I'm excited.
So good. And then go ahead.
I was gonna say we've only cabbed 2 so far, but there's some really nice ones in there that I'm excited to get into. Not even gonna try making a promise on when that video's coming, because I have no idea.
Right. Well, if you have to work, and ladies and gentlemen, there is no speeding through opals.
No, there is not. You do not. Time. You don't hammer those out. There's
yeah. Somebody, go ahead.
How can I guess I can't. It's like, how can I point out specific stones so that I can gesture? But I literally can't.
I don't
So
think I do. I have the. Can you see my cursor?
I guess I should be looking on my phone, not the delayed laptop. I
Does it
cannot.
show?
No,
Oh,
I
poop. I think there's
cannot.
a way that I can make it happen, but I don't know how.
So,
So,
so there's the two in front are matrix opals from Mexico. We go one back, the little one on the left of those two. That is a lightning ridge. The one next to it is a crazy nice Brazilian opal. That's the one I sent you a video of
oh
that
yeah.
has like the insane color. Behind the Brazilian opal, which is the bigger of the two, you can see a kind of crusty thing right behind it. That is another lightning ridge, which is actually underneath. Partial, like half of it is underneath that. Wow, what word is that? Paper towel. There we go. That just escaped my brain for some reason. Yeah, that one is insane. That. Let me. I actually have examples. No, I don't. These are all smaller than it. That is like this big. It's like
Oh
over
wow.
an inch long. So that's a big one. I'm super
That's a
excited about that one.
banger. Yeah.
There's some Wellos in there. There's a couple Cooper PDs that were given to me by Sweet Jim. Actually, the Matrix Opals were given to me by Sweet Jim also. And then there's, yeah, absolutely. That material is so pretty. Still can't believe he just gave me that stuff. It's so nice.
He loved you. That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were such
all
a
that
big
stuff
fan.
is like sacred now because he sent me a box just loaded with stuff, and yeah, now it's like, no, those are
Sacred.
all very, 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 very special.
Yeah. Yeah. As they should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
This dude, Ted Kellison, said that they hopped on Harbor Freight for a minute. Flex shaft is not in stock locally and is listed as clearance item. So gotta hope they'll replace it with equal or better. Interesting. And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they will, honestly.
Yeah.
They might just be phasing out that model and bringing in a new one. I just hope it's not more expensive.
Well, it probably will be, but I mean, like that's just inflation. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I just mean like crazy expensive. If it's in the same price range, I'm happy. As long as they don't get rid of the like $50 one and bring in $100 one, then we're still good. We could still be happy.
No kidding.
That's really what I mean.
Yeah,
somewhere in this pile is a crazy nice honeycomb opal that I'm very afraid to cut. I'm going to cut it in that video. I'm very afraid to cut it because I have never cut a honeycomb opal before.
Oh.
I am so afraid of messing that thing up because it is so freaking nice.
Well, this is when to do it, though.
Yeah. I know. I think that was in the video I sent you also.
Yeah. Actually, there was an incredible honeycomb. So
yeah, that's that one, and I am so afraid to cut it. But yeah, that's what my shop looks like at the moment. the tiny little windows I took pictures of, that's what it looks like. And we're going to leave it at that. And everyone just believe it looks like that because it's...
These are real.
Yeah, this is an accurate representation, I promise.
Well, thank you for that. The window into Theo's laboratory, and I will all look forward to a whole studio tour. And I always feel like it's exciting, even when like you do a live or when Kyle does a live, and we get to see like, oh, that's where they are, like it's cool. It's cool to see that. And so yep, we're all sort of these weird rock voyeurs out here.
Yep.
We want to see people's spaces, and so that's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like everybody always wants an eye full of opals, so that was like a fringe benefit.
I was gonna show the saw also, but I need to clean it. It's so muddy right now because of freaking Tiger Eye. I can use that thing for months on end, and it's still like so nice and clean. It might get a little bit of silts like way down at the bottom of the oil. Cut to Tiger Eye, and that thing is just a sloppy, muddy mess the moment you're done.
Isn't that crazy? How
Oh my god.
certain rocks, like, yeah,
I cut a
I've had the
ton
same
of
problem
rocks.
with my 10. Yeah.
Yeah. And I cut a ton of rocks. I mean, you know how many cutting videos I make? Like we do a ton of rock cutting. That saw is going every single day, and it's specifically the only one I've had that kind of issue with is tiger eye. The second I cut a tiger eye, like, well, I literally need to deep clean the entire thing now, like empty and start over because it's that dirty.
Ah,
Uh,
man, yeah. Like, and that's the scourge of having a big saw right
yeah,
there. Is like,
yeah.
oh man, well, if you have to empty it out and then you filter the oil if you're gonna replace it or if you and that's why I like the water saw. But like I was just cutting some of the beach concretions and some bone and that sort of thing. And it's funny because before that I was cutting like petrified woods and some agate and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And like there's no cleanup. There's no
Yeah.
cleanup with that
Yeah, with the
stuff.
edges
And
and
then
Japanese that would, yeah, you can go literally for a year without cleaning.
seriously, I just, dump the water out, I wipe some stuff down and it's like no sludge, no nothing. And then I'm
Yeah,
doing this other stuff and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's like an inch of sand on the bottom of this thing like,
yeah,
that's terrible silt and I'm like cleaning
yeah.
for a half an hour just trying to get the thing." And so, yeah, it's really interesting. Although I feel like the concretions that I cut through actually dress the saw. So it's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly.
Like it's like cutting through a brick. And so I'm like, all right, I'm
to
willing
to
to
actually dress my blade because I'm always just swapping hardnesses. Like I'll do something hard and then that is not intentional at all. It's kind of just a happy accident. But I've
that is
never had
one
to dress my blade.
happy accident. Yeah.
Yeah, because it just kind of does its thing. Yeah, I'll cut an agate and then we'll swap to something way softer and rinse and repeat. And I've had that for a year since before Christmas. So yeah, it's still no dressing involved.
Ah, that's awesome. Yeah, like that's one reason why I'm on that kind of pace right now
Yeah,
is because I went through that the thin high tech centered blade. The one that I had before, I absolutely murdered it with Montana agates
yup,
for my Maker's Challenge. And so I like, okay, I'm gonna go back and forth and make sure this thing is well dressed.
yeah, yeah. It helps a lot. My saw got to the point before I realized that dressing was probably going to have to happen, and I cut like I don't know, but probably 15, 20 Montana agates in a row on the big saw. And it got to the point where it would take like almost 2 hours per cut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when that rock finally was done, I literally just cut like, I don't know, probably like 10 septarians. And after that, it was just good as new, ready to go.
Right? Yeah, and, like, you can tell the difference. I mean, that's what's
Yeah,
really crazy is, like, I cut a couple of concretions and I'm like, "Oh, yeah. This thing
yeah,
is, like, raring to go. I love
yeah,
it." There's nothing like that because, when your agate eater actually eats through agates, you're happy. You're a
yeah.
happy person.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating, especially when I come back from like the rock shed, because my brain gets used to the specific time range that my saw takes to cut Montana agates. And I come back from the rock shed and I've got like Botswana agate, and Brazilian agate, and Mexican lace agate, and all this other different kinds of agate. In the video that comes out tomorrow, we cut like a freaking 10 pound green tree moss agate. That thing was amazing. Came out so freaking pretty, but it's so frustrating because you cut any other agate on that saw and it's like 5-10 minutes to cut. It's just done already, and then I go back to the Montana agates and it's like we're maybe
Right.
averaging like 2 hours per rock. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, why?
literally cut a ten
How
pound
beautiful you are.
yeah, like cut an entire 10 pounds green tree moss agate in less time than it would take to cut like a 4 pound Montana agate.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the one thing that we have that sidles up like anywhere even close. Cause, after the Montana agates, I got like agate shy. I was like, I don't want to cut any agate anymore. I'm done with agates, man. And then I got
Yeah.
a new blade, and I'm like, okay, agates are easy. It's not agates. And so
It's just
I'm like
Montana agates.
my graveyard point and my moss agates from Maury and all these like wonderful agates, like they just like blip, and it's done.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the one stone that I have that comes close to Montanis though is beach jasper. And I don't
Hmm.
know why, but that
Yep.
stuff is so friggin' like I'll be like, I'm going through the beach stuff and I'm cutting, and it's fun and I'm having a great time. And even like, beach agates and stuff like that. And then I get like there's these ones that have like a lot of marcasite in them, and they're green. Like it's
Yeah.
green sort of jasper that's like swirly, and it's got, ochre and red and other colors in it. And a lot of times it's like a jagged. So you can see some of like blue black agate or some kind of other agate is like swirling in it like a carnelian or something like that. They're very pretty.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, like I'm the high tech 10-inch, you can either use like I actually do have a vise for it that I've
Yeah.
never used. I just hold the stone. I
Yeah.
probably should like set up the vise for these rocks, because I'm like, I have to take a break about halfway through. I
Yeah.
can't make it. And like that's like sawing for like a half an hour, and the thing's
Yeah,
hot. And
exactly.
it's not that big of an agate. I'm
Right.
talking about maybe, my 10-inch can take a 4 3/4 sized agate. And I'm talking about maybe like a 3.5-inch agate, or
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
jasper. I'm sorry. And so,
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
why
you
the heck
sent me
would it
pictures
take
of
that
those,
long?
and they look just like, I know we've talked about this before, but they look just like South Dakota prairie agates, which coincidentally are the only other rock I've found as hard as Montana agates.
So you got
Oh,
to wonder, like, do they have some kind of like geological config that's identical? Like, maybe the way that they get set up is because it doesn't
yeah,
make sense that they should
I've
be
seen.
11 on the Mohs hardness scale, but they
Yeah,
are.
exactly. So it's like, okay, why are these ones forming differently? Because clearly there's something different going on with these specific rocks, especially the beach jaspers and the prairie agates, because they even look the same. Prairie
Yeah.
agates are on average bigger, but they look almost identical. So
It's
there has to
like,
be some weird kind of formation going on there.
yeah, like how, like oatmeal and egg and certain things, like, the way that they set up, they're the worst things that you ever have to wash in the dishwasher or whatever. Like, I mean, maybe like
Exactly.
something about the way that they congeal,
Yep.
as far as their silicate soup goes, when they're being born is just flipping, there's both oatmeal and egg in there or something.
Yep.
Really quick, I just want to say thank you so much to Rockhounding with Jasper Blue. He says, "Gotta say, it's so great to be sitting in on this podcast. So interesting and even inspiring. Thank you all for sharing. It's so comfortable to be here. I've really missed this." And it's like, yeah, that's our community. Thank you so much, Jasper, for coming back. But also everybody, like all of the banter back and forth about the flex shafts and about using doors is like, on sawhorses for tables and stuff like that. You guys are awesome. I mean, everybody is like coming up with all these great ideas to share and stuff like that. And
Heck
so,
yeah.
yeah, thanks everybody. I love how everybody is sharing their wealth. This looks super
Absolutely.
familiar. If you look right behind me, um, that right there is in the center of the picture, like this is daylight. And literally, I turned around at the seat that I'm sitting in right now and took this picture just wide angle during daylight. And so you guys see this all the time. This is the backdrop of where I am. But, I have to complain. This is the small studio. This is where I do most of the jewelry work and a lot of the
Mhm.
light lapidary. And then some of the heavy lapidary does happen downstairs. And so, or upstairs sometimes even. And so, at like another date, just like Theo, I'll take folks for more of an extensive tour. But, everybody's got drawers with a bunch of stuff that's happening. Like I literally have a pickle jar for my pickle. You know, all you guys, the silversmiths out there, you know that you need pickle, and that's like a Mount Olive pickle jar on a hot plate. And so, you know, it doesn't get any more simpler than that. I love stools for module, you know, like just being able to move a table around your studio.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I am serious. Like, I have like 4 or 5 stools that like move around in a small spaces. They're brilliant. And so, you know, you can sit on it like when you're doing faceting, or you can put your soldering station on it and move it to a
There
different
you
part of
go.
your studio so you don't like set everything else on fire. And so you know, faceting machine is there in the middle, and you can see lights that are, you know, able to be clipped in wherever lights are needed. I've got about 4 of them that just move around where the stations where I need them. A lot of people have been asking about, you know, the Fortums or the pendulum systems. You can build that little T-bar. That one's a Dremel one that came with that particular Fortum, but like, did I say Fortum? A Fortum one that came with the Fortum. But you know, there's so many. I had a little T-bar attached to a clamp before I had that you know did the same job. It just wasn't as shishi. And then a lot of people have a bunch of different ways of housing their burrs and stuff. You can see a block of wood that has the burrs or the dops. You can see another block that has my my jewelry files in it. And up on top of the top desk next to zone, if you look at that little table that I built, and that's like out of driftwood and some scrap wood, there is a magnet that you can buy at Harbor Freight, and a bunch of tools are just on like hovering on the front of that little table. That little table can come off of the roll top desk and move anywhere in the studio where I need all of the tools that are both like kind of it's like a almost like a indented table. And so there's a bunch of stuff that resides in there, and then there's all these little like burrs and tools that hang out right on the outside of it as well. And so there's a lot of ways to make a small space really large. You know, and basically with a rolling chair, I can get around to, you know, if I need to be over underneath the roll top desk, I can go there. My jeweler's pin is the C clamp next to the last stool to the right with the Fortum and the Dremel. You can see the C clamp, and then my jeweler's bench pin is there. And then you can see even my my ball vise at the bottom of the picture on the right hand side, and that's actually set up so that I can pull the microscope to it and do my setting there now. And then, you know, I turn around and we're at the computer, and that microscope is actually now it's in the same place, but it's a little bit farther over to the edge of the table so that it can just illuminate the little block that you saw the ball vise in. And you know, and so it like the whole studio can be traveled in on a rolling chair, which I'm sitting in right now. And you know, it makes life easy. And then of course I watch all of the YouTube stuff, all of your videos, and listen to all that stuff on the computer while I work in my little studio. And so most of it is contained in here, but then, you know, if I need to go cut, my flat lap lives in another room, and some of the heavier equipment, and I'll take you down there and give you a tour at some point in the future. Okay. And so Ken is saying, you know, back at the very beginning, he was talking about what he was hanging his Fordham, or rather his Dremel from, and it was a broomstick, literally, with a hook screwed into it. Yeah. And mine was actually driftwood that like I made into a T-bar, because I constantly upcycle wood from the beach. Why not? If you get like super good hardwood, if you know what you're looking at, you know, like you can go get like killer wood off of the beach. And we're actually allowed to take I can't remember how many cords of wood we're allowed to take off of the beach for personal use. like as a resource on the Oregon coast. And so like it's totally legal to go and source wood off of the beach to build stuff out of. It's like, woo, yeah. You know, and it could be from anywhere in the world. You know, like Theo and I were talking last night about, you know, Brazilian rosewood and stuff like that. And you can find all sorts of stuff anyway. So that's kind of the fun of that. And so, oh my gosh, that's the viewer shows and tells, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your studios. It's so cool to see how everybody sets their places up, especially when we get to see some of your spoils as well. And so, join our Discord if you want to see what people are making in their studios. And the studio shots, they were happening over there in the Discord by emailing us. The email will be in the description after we're done with this because it's not there now. Or if you go to the Rockhound podcast, that channel will have the email on, like, you know, any one of the 114 other episodes that we have, or 113. And you can join the next viewer show and tell by either joining the Discord and drop in your shares there, because we have a special channel for that, or you can email your pictures of cool rocks to the email and leave us just a brief description. So studios and cool rocks. And you know, when our inbox fills up, we'll do another one of these, but it's always so much fun to show off what you guys are up to. You know, we really appreciate you guys. You know, we're gonna just chat like Theo and I, as we've spoken of recently. Anyhow, but it's so much more fun to bring you guys into the conversation and share it, and then like all of the sharing that you guys do as far as your studio hacks and stuff like that, that benefits everybody. You know, I love watching and seeing these comments, and I'll go through and see all the comments I missed at the replay, but you know, you guys are there for each other, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
And so,
already said, I don't need to add anything. Just yes.
So do you have any?
That was one of those. Theo, what are your thoughts moments? And my response is, I agree.
Yes. So do you have any whys for these guys?
I am so tapped out on whys today. I'm so tired. My whys is make sure you eat your dinner before 9 p.m. Otherwise, you'll be zombie Theo.
Yeah, you don't want to see zombie Theo. You just don't. Well, thank you, Manny. He was saying hanging out with y'all is such a great way to end his week, and you know, he's on Saturday, and so it's a great way for us to hang out on Saturday before it gets here, Manny. So thanks. We're doing Saturday on our Friday Night Live. And thank you, Lisa and Melissa and Kyle and Kid Curry and Bob and Allison and Diane. Oh my gosh, I don't think I saw you before. And so Diane's in the house, John, Jeff, all y'all, Sean and Jasper Blue, and you guys are wonderful. We thank you so much. Silverback from all the way back there in Oz in the future. Thank you for sharing on your studios and your ideas and your Friday or Saturday with us. We so appreciate you. And we will see you next week for Friday Night Live on my channel. And then the week after that will be another Rockhound podcast. And who knows where that's going to be, but it'll at the very least be on the Rockhound podcast channel. And we'll probably have a guest, because I know we have one scheduled. We'll just see what happens with that, since it's been such an erratic year already. And then Kyle's live streams both on Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see you there tomorrow. And then do we know when yours is going to be?
That's a good question. Pretty much whenever I finally get through all the stuff that I bought at the rock shed. So I have to do a bunch of rock cutting. I have to do. I'm hoping I can get some cabbing done. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna though. Really, it's just however long it takes me to slab and like organize and process and then organize. So I'm hoping like a week or two. When I actually get an idea of how much more I have left to cut, I will make an announcement either on the podcast or on one of my videos.
Pippin.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like chaos is going on over there.
Yeah,
Thank you,
always.
Melissa. And thank you, Rocky, for being here. And thank you, Brian, for being here. You know, we appreciate you guys all. And I've been down on the beach hounding. Yes. The storms and the low tide have finally congealed for some good rock hounding. So more videos are coming up as far as that's concerned in the very, very near future. So keep an eye out for that. Like probably I'll drop something this weekend, I'm hoping. And so again, cheers to you all, to your health, to a great weekend, to great rocks. Thanks for sharing. And we will see you on the very next Rockhound podcast and Friday Night Live. And and Eric the Cat, thank you for being here. We love you. We'll see you next time. Cheers and good night.
Goodbye.